What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Obviously we got a crazy video planned today. It's been an awesome day. We took my dad's red-tailed hawk Shuri out hunting, and I picked up my first assignment check. I'm gonna share all the details with you guys. Let's get into it. This is gonna be an awesome day, and before we get out there and I take you guys vlogging with me and all of that good stuff, let's just do a quick catch up in case you're new here. My name is Lili, and this is where I document my real estate investing journey and bring you guys along with me. That journey actually started a couple of years ago when I got really interested in financial freedom and real estate investing, and out of college I decided to house hack a duplex. And basically all that means is that I used an owner-occupant loan to purchase a multifamily property, in this case a duplex, where I live in one unit and have renters in the other unit. Now from there, you usually can only use one of those low down payment loans once every year, and so I needed an option to keep investing in real estate without actually house hacking again until another year had passed. And that's when I decided to dive into wholesaling, and I actually did an entire 8-part series. This was episode 1. This was episode 8, and throughout that journey, I was able to get my first wholesale deal. And today is the day of the closing where I get to pick up my check. So that's kind of where we're gonna pick this video up and take you guys through what does it mean to actually close on a real estate deal? How do you get your money? Some of the questions that you guys have, like do you need to go to the closing? And just like how awesome of a day I think this is gonna be. So there's a bunch of videos coming. We're gonna make a new series, just like the kind of all the way to getting my first deal assigned. We're gonna make a series on how to actually close your deal, meaning how to find a title company, how to make sure the seller, it doesn't object to you getting an assignment fee at the end of it, what to do if you're worried about your cash buyer knowing what your assignment fee is. Maybe they're gonna be a little hurt because you made too much money on the deal. That could definitely happen. So I'm gonna be making a series on all of that for you guys, so definitely subscribe and stay tuned. And of course, at the end of this video, I'm gonna put some footage of how Shuri did, if she ended up catching anything today, and just so you can see what it's like to actually go out on a falconry hunt, because I know that's not super common. So that'll be coming at the end. Stay tuned for that. But for now, let's dive in. So first things first, the property. This is a property that is in pretty poor condition. I'll put some pictures up for you guys, and basically I found it on the MLS. I got an alert that a property with the word as is came on the market. I could immediately tell by the price that it was going to be in distressed condition. I called the real estate agent, told her myself and my partners were looking for more properties in, fixer-upper type condition. I offered her extra commission, meaning that I came in as an unrepresented buyer, and so therefore she could represent the seller and myself for a little bit extra commission. And I made my offer, and the seller ended up accepting. We went for a little bit of an extra long closing because the seller was going to move out of this house and buy a new one, and she needed the money from this house to buy the new one, but she still had to go out and find the house that she wanted to move into. So we gave her, instead of about 4 weeks, we went with 6 weeks for the closing. And so she was able to find a house during that time. I had about 10 business days to find a buyer. It only took me, I think, about 5 days to kind of send out the information, get about 5 or 6 interested buyers to come out to the property and see it. And one of them made me an offer. Now, the numbers. I got the property under contract with the seller for $76,000, and I passed it off to a cash buyer for $82,000. And once both of those contracts were signed in with the title company, they were prepared to cut me a check on the day of closing, which is today, for $6,000. Now there's one extra thing that I want to note here. If you guys watch this video about earnest money, I talk about how when you get that first contract with the seller, you're going to need to get it into the title company, and most times, if not all times, you're going to need to submit earnest money. And so I ended up submitting $500 of earnest money, and that's because my rule is that if the purchase price is less than $100,000, I submit $500. If it's more than $100,000, I submit $1,000, just because when you're working with on-market deals, agents are going to expect about 1% of the purchase price for earnest money. So this was a $76,000 deal. I offered $500, and they didn't have any problem with that. So because I put down $500 of earnest money, that meant that I also had my cash buyer put down $500 of earnest money. And so what that meant was basically, if for some reason my cash buyer didn't close on the deal, they would lose their earnest money to me, and I would lose my earnest money to the seller. So getting your cash buyer to put down the same, if not more, earnest money is just a way to protect you in that you don't lose your earnest money, even if for some reason the day of closing comes and they don't show up or they don't purchase the property. that would be a really bad situation, but at least you won't lose your earnest money. So that means today I'm actually picking up 2 checks. I'm picking up the $6,000 assignment check, but I'm also picking up a $500 just earnest money refund check. So I hope that's a good overview of what's going on. And I want to take a moment to answer a really common question I get, and that's, do you need to go to the closing? And the answer is no. Today, as you guys saw in the intro, rather than going to the closing, I'm going out to help my dad, the falconry brother, take his red-tailed hawk named Shuri out on a hunting expedition so she can get some food. The reason I can do this as the wholesaler is that I've actually signed everything that I need to sign. In fact, I signed everything I need to sign just from my cell phone in the days and weeks prior to the closing. If you think about it this way, between myself and the seller, we have a contract for $76,000 that was signed the day that I made the offer and she accepted the offer. We both signed it, sent it into the title company, submitted earnest money, good to go. Then when I went out to find a buyer, myself and the buyer signed a assignment contract for $82,000, did the exact same thing, signed it from our phones, sent it into the title company. That cash buyer sent in their earnest money check. At that point, there's nothing left for me to sign. Now, I still stayed in contact with the seller, with my cash buyer, and with the title company, because at the end of the day, they're all working with me. So the seller and actually my cash buyer never even spoke. They never met each other. They aren't even going to the closing today at the same time. Everyone is kind of working with me. And so I just needed to communicate and make sure that everyone was prepared and just like ready to close and, you know, feeling good about they have their paperwork submitted, they have their paperwork submitted, the title company ran all the things that they need to do, and just double checking. So I checked in maybe like 3 or 4 times during the 6 weeks just to make sure that everything was on track. So yesterday I sent the closer at the title company a quick message and just asked him, what times can I come by to pick up my check? And he said, come by around 3 p.m. So I think my cash buyer went in this morning around like 9 o'clock to sign the documents. And then the seller is actually closing on our deal and then taking the money that she gets from our deal and turning around and using it for her second closing for her new house that she's moving into. So she finished that up around noon. He's telling me to come by around 3, and all I have to do is just walk in the front door and pick up my check from the desk. So my dad's downstairs getting Shuri ready to go out hunting, and I'm gonna go down there and just make sure everything's good, and also call the title company and just make sure that they have my check and it's ready for pickup.
Thanks for calling Integrity Title. This is, can I help you?
Hi, I'm calling to see if an assignment check from a closing earlier today is ready.
What would the name be that I need to look for?
Kalia Thompson.
Ben said it'll be up front for you when you get here.
Alrighty, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Hello. Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Just here to pick up an assignment check from a closing with Vince earlier today.
Here you go, dear.
Alrighty, thank you, sir.
Very nice working with you.
You as well, and looking forward to doing some more.
There you
Just
go.
make sure I know what we've got here. So this is the assignment, and then the earnest money is that here as well.
Voila.
All right, perfect.
All right.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
All right, so we got the assignment check right here, and then we got the earnest money refund. So remember, I put down $500, and then my cash buyer came out and put down $500. So that means I got my $500 back, plus the $6,000 assignment check. Let's go back to the office and kind of dive into all of that, but we did it, guys. All right, guys. This is exciting. All right, so what we have here are the 2 checks. This is the earnest money refund check for $500, and this is the assignment check for $6,000. And we also have the ALTA statement, which, to be honest, I don't even know what that means. So let's look it up. Okay, so my laptop's not working, but let's see, what does an ALTA statement stand for? Okay, so the ALTA statement is an itemized list of all the fees or charges that the buyer and seller will pay during the settlement portion of a real estate transaction. What does it stand for? Oh, American Land Title Association. Okay, interesting. Oh, it says it right there. Okay, so I'll put just like a screen recording of what I can up on the screen for you guys. Obviously I have to protect people's personal information, so I'll do that. But basically what this is saying is that the sale price is $76,000, so that's going to be something the buyer pays and that the seller's going to receive. And then we have the deposit, which is the earnest money of $500, county taxes that need to be paid, and then all of the closing costs that the title company charges to actually get this deal done. Because if you think about it, the title company has a job to make sure that all the paperwork and taxes and title and all that good stuff is taken care of, and they get paid for that. So those are your typical closing costs. And with this deal, because it was a cash purchase and because the seller just needed to leave with a certain amount of money, we offered to pay all of the closing costs except for the real estate agent's fees, which we're going to get into in a moment. So the closing costs were just basic things like a bankruptcy search, the closing fee that they charge, post-closing processing, title search, abstract search, just all the things I have to do to make sure that this sale can go through legally. So what else do we have? We have title insurance. We have recording fees, document stamps that go to the county clerk, etc., etc. In this case, because I was unrepresented as a buyer and I did not have a real estate agent come in, there were 3% extra of commissions that could have been paid. If you remember, I talk about in this video where a real estate agent, typically both parties will make 3%. So the buyer's agent will make 3%, the seller's agent will make 3%. In this case, I don't have an agent. So by letting the real estate agent represent me, she could have made 6%. In this case, she decided to give the seller a little bit extra. I think she only made 4%. And the seller just got an extra 2% in her pocket at closing. And then the big thing, and this is a question that I get a lot, is can you wholesale a house that has a mortgage? And absolutely you can. It's no different than saying, can you sell a house that has a mortgage? If you imagine a house has a $50,000 mortgage on it and somebody sells it for $70,000, well, the mortgage is going to get paid off for $50,000 and the seller is going to make $20,000, from there, just basically. So with this deal, the seller paid off their mortgage. And then my favorite line of this entire thing, assignment fee to myself for $6,000. And again, that comes out of my cash buyer. So the cash buyer in this case, because we agreed in the contract to pay all closing costs, my cash buyer is paying everything except the mortgage payoff to the mortgage company and the real estate agent's fees. So that is kind of the closing statement. And then they're just signatures, both by the gentleman who was my cash buyer and the seller, just the closing acknowledgement that this property has been sold. And yeah, just a bunch of other legal jargon, a copy of the deed that has now been transferred to my cash buyer. None of this official documentation has my name on it because I'm now disassociated with the deal, disassociated with the property. I just had that assignment fee in there as the last line. So yeah, that's super exciting. So you guys waited this long. Let me roll some footage from when I was out with my dad, the Falconry brother. We were out there letting Shuri fly and look for some dinner. We had a great time, and I know you want to see if Shuri caught something, so I'll definitely leave that in at the end of the video. As you know, this is me going through this journey real time, and so many of you have been so supportive, and I really want to give that support back to you, which is why I'm trying to make the most valuable, most transparent wholesaling content on YouTube from a beginner's perspective. So if you agree with that statement, if you feel like you're getting value from these videos, definitely hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss future content. Don't miss those series on how to close your real estate deal. And of course, until next time, thank you guys so much for watching. Now let's roll that tape. Oh, she missed.